Hi all, welcome to Mentors Law Entrance Coaching Center. So today we are starting our CLAT Nation program, that is free CLAT training for all law aspirants. Our medium of communication for this CLAT Nation is mostly on English. It is mainly because CLAT is an all India entrance exam. There are students from outside our state who are preparing for this examination. They can also watch and learn from our classes. And also this exam is conducted in the medium English. So English reading proficiency is very important for your entrance examination. Okay, the one skill that you need to develop for writing CLAT examination is comprehensive reading capacity. So in order to develop this comprehensive reading capacity, learning in your native language will not help you. You should communicate in English, you should read in English, you should contemplate in English. Everything should be done in English. That will be very helpful for your entrance examination. So as a first step, I have already told you the one skill that you need to develop in order to write CLAT entrance examination is comprehensive reading capacity. Okay, that's one thing. You should read every day. You should spend time to read more and more and more. You can read editorials of newspapers, or you can read books. Whatever you do, you need to start reading today. If you are not in the habit of reading, you should start reading today, that too in English, not in your native language. As I have mentioned before, one of the most important skill that a CLAT aspirant has to develop and has to work upon is their comprehensive reading capacity. Okay, it is one thing to have a comprehensive reading skill, and it's another thing to know different time-saving devices or time-saving techniques that you can apply during a CLAT examination. Okay, so just having this comprehensive reading ability is not enough to write your CLAT examination effectively. You should know different devices, different techniques of reading that you can apply in your examination that will help you read more effectively and efficiently in a given time. That is, you only have 2 hours to read 120 questions and to answer them. So we will be moving on to different reading techniques, and I want you to please concentrate. I want you to concentrate on one thing. Okay, today we will be talking not just about how to read a CLAT question paper. No, it's not just about that. There are different methods you have to apply in different stages of your CLAT preparation. See, it's one thing how you are reading a CLAT question paper. It's another thing how you are learning. Okay, for your learning purposes, you can't use these devices. I'll tell you what are the different methods of reading that you have to apply during your learning process, while writing your mock test and while writing your CLAT examination. Different methods of reading will be applied in different subjects. Okay, each subject should be read differently. Okay, I will explain to you all those methods in our presentation. So let's move on to our presentation. So the first thing, before even starting our class, the first thing that we are going to learn today is the structure of an essay. The structure of an essay. This is a very important thing to know, because if you need to know the structure, because this helps you understand an essay or article or an excerpt much easier. Okay, before even moving to the structure of the essay, I'll help you understand one thing, that no coaching center, you can look at any videos, you can go to any classes. I think most of them, I don't know why they aren't teaching you about this, but this one technique is going to help you very much. That technique is nothing but citation. Citation is a very important thing in an essay to look for. Why? Because look at any given passage or essay or except whatever in your CLAT question paper. Okay, at the bottom right hand you can see the citation from where they have taken it. This is very important, because when you are reading a question paper, you are taking a passage and you are starting to read it. You have no clue what you are about to read. Okay, when you are starting to read the introduction, at the end of when you are reading 4 or 5 lines, after you start to get the idea, okay, I am about to read about this. Oh, this is the body. Okay, I'll get to the structure later. So only after reading or after giving some time, you will get to know what the passage is about. That's very time consuming, and you are not prepared to read about it. So what is the benefit of the citation is that The citation helps you know what you are about to read. Okay, in the bottom right hand it will be 3 or 4 words. These 4 words will help you understand what is this passage about, because that will be the heading, that will be the original heading of that passage. Okay, so there is the passage. You can understand by simply reading a citation. You can understand that, oh, this is about a global warming, or this is about the effect of greenhouse gases. Okay, without even getting into the first few lines of introduction, you get an idea what this passage is all about. And after reading the citation, when you get to the introduction, when you start reading the passage excerpt, it gets much easier. It gets very easier. So start looking for citation from today onwards. Okay, if you are reading previous year question paper, look into the citation. Okay, in 90% of the times, the citation will help you understand what you are about to read. Okay, sometimes the title of the excerpt will be absurd and you will not get an idea of what you are about to read. It can happen that way also, but 90% of the times citation will help you. And what will it take? It takes just 2 seconds to read 4 words in the citation. It's much easier to understand. Okay, so now from today onwards, look at the question paper in a very different way. Okay, how you will be looking at the citation. From now onwards, start looking for the citation while writing previous year question paper or full length mocks. Look at the citation. Okay, some mocks they don't even provide citation, I know that, but in your examination they will provide citation, don't worry about it. So that's one skill, or that is one technique I have taught you now. Okay, so this is a one time saving device. It's a time saving technique to look at citation to get the idea about the passage. It's a very good time saving technique. You don't have to read 4 or 5 lines to get the idea about it. Okay, now what is the structure of an essay? What is structure when we write an essay? We have written essays in our childhood, right? Sorry, you are still children's. Okay, you have written essays for your schools, right? What is the structure? The first passage will be about the introduction. First paragraph, or first few lines will be definitely about the introduction of that idea. What am I about to discuss? So what is the benefit here? It helps to spot the main idea and tone. What we are about to discuss, what the main idea. If you didn't get it from the citation, and for your question purposes, if you need to understand what we are about to read, then then you will have to, then you can use introduction. The introduction will help you understand the main idea of the essay, the topic, the purpose of the essay. We can clearly understand from the introductory part itself. Then comes the body part. Body part is the part where the author will be discussing about all his logical arguments, his viewpoints, okay, his supporting arguments, his contrasting ideas, everything he will discuss in this body part. Okay, think about it. When we write an essay, how will we do? How are we writing? Okay, we will have an introduction, then we will provide every argument supporting our introduction or our point of view. So that is the body part. But how are we going to use the body part? The body part, understanding the body part will help you understand writing questions dealing with details, or questions where you have to use inference, that is your logical, your reasoning, critical reasoning ability will be used in which part? The body part of the essay. Okay, details and inference. While writing details and inference questions, you have to look at the body part. Arguments and examples are given in this area. Then next area is, the final part is conclusion. This conclusion gives the sums up the whole total of his idea, how he has concluded, how he has finalized his argument. This part will be available in the conclusion. So these are the 3 parts in an essay. So moving on, the methodologies of reading. There are different methodologies that you can apply while reading. Okay, most of you should be familiar with these reading methods. But today skimming is a method you are all familiar with. You all know we have to use skimming. So you will be using the skimming method from the very beginning of your coaching. Okay, from the very beginning of your training, you will be using skimming method. It is exactly why most of the students don't crack examination. Skimming is not a method that you apply during your learning process. Skimming is a method you will use in your mocks and while writing your entrance examination. For learning process, skimming method will not help you. Okay. Before moving on to the area of discussion, I'm just saying that in our learning process, while I am taking classes or while you are trying to understand certain concept or attending classes, skimming method is not something that you will use. You will use that method for your mocks and your entrance examination. Let's discuss different methods. So there are different methods. I have given 3 methods: skimming, skipping and active reading. These are 3 methods of reading. Okay. Here itself it's given that it is better to read questions before reading a comprehension during your examination. Okay. This is a very important thing to keep in mind while writing your examination. Okay. You can this is a skill that you have to develop in a slow process. Okay, starting with your mocks in your second or third stage, or like it's in the 4th or 5th month of coaching, you have to start attending mocks more vigorously, and while doing that mocks, you have to start using different methods, and the one efficient method is question first method. Okay, first you read the question, then you go to the passage. It will help you get to the answer much easier. Okay, if you read the passage at first and the questions later, while reading the passages you will be contemplating on it. You will be thinking a lot about different scenarios in which these things, the new things that you learn from the passage is going to apply. That will waste your time. Okay, so one time saving device for your exams and mocks is that read questions first, then go to the passage. So you will have a precise idea about what you are trying to find from a passage. And this method is not that easy like it seems, because to remember 5 or 6 questions in your head is a difficult process. So you can start doing it this method on the first hand or on the beginning stages. You can do this only after 3 or 4 months of learning process. Okay, so this is a process. Trust in the process. Don't be like, oh, I have to rush to that. I have to start from my first mock onwards. I'm going to read the question, then I'm going to the passage. You can try that. It may not work for everyone. So we have to develop in a graph in a proper manner. Okay, so let that be there. So these 3 are our reading methodologies. Okay, we'll deal with each reading methodology. That is skimming, skipping and active reading. Skimming is the most common method known to every CLAT aspirant. Okay, what does skimming means? Skimming means reading quickly. You are reading quickly to get the main idea of the passage without reading everything. You won't be reading. I will help you understand what skimming is on the next coming slides. Okay, it is a method which everyone uses to read things much faster. That is skimming. Skimming after reading questions is the most preferred method in writing a CLAT examination. That's already provided. We have discussed upon it on beforehand in the last slide. Now, skipping is a method in which you will not read the passage. Okay, you might not even go through the passage even once. Okay, like I'll tell you where we will be using skipping method. Skipping method is mostly used in general passages. If a passage is given about a very general topic, okay, the things they discuss in the very general thing that is known to everyone. Okay, like I have said, like effects of greenhouse gases. You might already know the effects of greenhouse gases. So sometimes you don't even have to read that passage. You can go to the questions. You will get the answers by reading the option. You might know the answer to the questions by reading the options. Okay, so if there is no time, you are looking at the time and you have you are in a hurry. You need to finish these things faster. And if it is about a general topic, and if you don't have enough time, if you feel like you don't have enough time, you can skip that. Like, don't try that now. Okay, we will learn. We will write loads of mocks. At some stage, you will get confident about things. That's the skipping method is not applied. Is applied by students themselves. After getting, if you write a 30-40 mocks, you get an idea. Okay, some things I don't even have to read, some things I know very well, so I can write. In legal aptitude, you will learn some areas like contract, tort. This area you will be studying properly. So in these areas, you don't even have to read the passage. Okay, in these areas you can look at the question and you might know the answer to that question, so you don't have to read the passage again. That's a one method. Skipping means skipping the passage and reading the question, trying to answer as much as possible without reading the passage. Sometimes you will have to go back to the passage sometimes, and if you feel that okay, I am very confused about this idea, so I need to read that passage, then you can go to the passage. That is the skipping method. Then there comes the active reading method. Okay, in our learning process, in my legal aptitude, I will be taking legal aptitude. In my legal aptitude sessions, our classes will be active reading sessions. I don't want you to skim during my session. In my sessions, I will be discussing with you many questions. While I am discussing questions with you, I don't want you to skim through it. I want you to actively read it. You have to understand each and every words, every scenarios that comes with it. Because by active reading, what we are going to get is, by active, my first sessions will be about contract. Okay, with 2 hours, with 6 or 7 passages, we will finish contract, general principles of contract very effectively. What is the benefit of that method is that it makes your skimming much easier. You will have a full idea about contract. So when you get a passage on contract in your entrance exam question paper, you don't have to skim. Sometimes you can skip that passage and get to the questions. Okay, so that is the benefit of active learning. It gives you the background knowledge which helps you read more effectively. It helps you skim faster, or sometimes you can skip the entire passage and get to the questions. Okay, it saves time. So certain areas in which we learn during our learning process, this does not apply in English. This applies in legal aptitude. Okay, this specifically applies in legal aptitude, where we will discuss about contract, tort, many areas of constitution. So you will have a precise and good idea about these parts. And the benefit is you can sometimes skip the passage and get to the question and answers. So if you are attending my classes, be ready for active reading. Okay, I don't want you to skip through it. It will not help you in any way. You will skim in my classes and you will try to skim in your entrance examination, but you will spend more time reading it. But active reading during my classes will help you to skim faster or sometimes skip. Okay, so while learning, we should do active reading. What is active reading? Thoroughly understand meaning, context and purpose of the text by focusing on both details and overall message. It involves analyzing the content, structure and intent of the material. For our learning process in legal aptitude, while I am taking classes, we will do active learning. We will get to different questions and we will get to different concepts, and we will become an expert in general principles of contract without even attending a college. Okay, that's one thing. So keep that in mind. Okay, for learning purposes, active reading is good. While writing mock exam, use skimming method. If you are becoming an expert in skimming method, then what you second stage you have to read questions and then go to the passage. And as a third stage, after active reading, when you are writing mocks, at the final stages of writing mock test, you can start skipping some passages. In English, sometimes in English, our general knowledge, there will be discussing general ideas. You can sometimes skip, you can get to the question, and sometimes you can write the answers to those questions. Okay, so that is the benefit of 3 reading process. So while learning, go for an active reading. While writing mock, first start skimming. I will help you understand what is skimming. Then start by reading questions and skimming. And if you feel like I'm an expert in certain areas, I have written enough exams to know what these things are, you can start skipping. So these are the 3 methods. Let's go. Next, we will be discussing about the skimming method, how to skim more effectively. I'll help you understand how to skim. It's skimming. Okay, I already discussed with skimming an effective method of reading. So I'll tell you what that is and how to do it. And for some of you who has already known, I will discuss some ideas that will make it, sometimes it will make it much easier. So we already know what skimming is. Reading quickly to get the main idea, not every word. So how can we read without reading every word? Okay, how can we understand something without reading every word? So first thing that you are going to do is, first thing, stop mouthing. That means sub-vocalizing words. Stop sub-vocalizing words. Vocalizing means it's a habit of reading out loud. Okay, sometimes you get the question paper, even if you are not being loud, you will be reading it by your mouth. You have to stop doing that. From today onwards, your reading will be completely done by your eyes. Your eyes will be scanning much faster. Your eyes will scan for you. Your mind and brain will read it for you and understand. You don't need your mouth. You can understand that, okay? You will not read things by your mouth. You will use your eyes, brain and your mind only. Okay, you don't need your mouth anymore. So that's the first stage of starting to read in faster. Then the second thing that you are going to do is avoid simple grammatical words. That is, in passages there will be a, and, the. These articles, you don't need these articles. Okay, you can skip these articles. Even when you are skipping these articles, the meaning of the sentence won't change. Okay, and mind will adapt to that method much easier. Sometimes after a later stage you will not read was, is, because even without reading is or was, you will understand it is happening in the past. You don't have to read that word. You will get to that. Okay, sometimes we can avoid these grammatical words and get to the main idea. Okay, that will help you skip 2-3 words in a sentence every time, and these 2-3 sentences will save us few seconds. Okay, and all total in reading a passage, it will save you about 30 seconds. And if you save 30 seconds in different questions, it can get more time for you while writing your arithmetic quantitative aptitude paper. Okay, whatever that may be, this will help you save time. This is also a time saving device in skipping. Okay, don't read every word. What are the words we are going to skip at the beginning? We are going to skip simple grammatical words. Then you will improve yourself. You will see the improvement yourself. Then second, focus on the content words. Okay, prioritize on the noun. Who is talking? What verb, noun, adjectives? Named rather, like who is talking, about what they are talking, what is happening right there. Okay, these things should be your focus. Read about that. Avoid simple grammatical things. In this slide, we will discuss what you have to do in the second stage of your preparation, how to skim in your second stage of your preparation. The ideas we are going to discuss in these sessions, you can't apply it during your first month of your preparation. You will have to wait 2 or 3 months to start understanding or start applying these things in your skimming or passage reading process. Okay, sometimes you will not even apply this. It's fine. Okay, if you are unable to apply these things in your passage reading, it's fine. You can still do good by normal skimming method. Okay, so this is an advanced method that you can do in your second stages while writing mocks in your second stage of your preparation, that is after 2 or 3 months. Okay, in the second stage of your preparation, you will be using smart reading technique. Okay, SRT. Okay, smart reading techniques. That is understanding certain words. If you're seeing certain words in a passage, you will have the understanding. Okay, I'll get this in there. Okay, this area will be talking about that thing. Okay, I'll introduce that things to you. Certain words, they are key in understanding what we are going to discuss, what is about to happen now. Okay, first are words showing cause and effect, or sometimes they are supporting arguments. Okay, in your most of these things are seen in the body part of an essay. So cause and effect, like the words are therefore, consequently, as a result, because, so, thus. See, what does these words mean? Okay, because author is telling something, like a greenhouse effect increases the temperature in earth? Because, okay, so why it increases temperature? You will get an idea of why. And he is telling we need to reduce the emission of greenhouse effect because. So why is he saying so? We'll get the idea because everything that is supporting or why, cause and effect, we can find these things from because. So from this cause and effect or supporting arguments can be found under these words. So while reading, while skimming, when you see these words, that part is very important. It will be useful in writing answers. So any place where you see these words, you have to mark there. Okay, you can use short form C and E, or you can just mark that area as important because that area will be discussing about, or else you can focus more while reading areas where there are therefore consequently as a result because these words. Now the words like similarly, likewise, in the same way, these things denote a comparison. Okay, this will help you, these words will help you understand comparison. The author is comparing this situation with something else. Okay, if the greenhouse effect, greenhouse gases increases day by day, our earth will become that of Mars or some other planet. The temperature will increase where life cannot sustain, something like that. Okay, so where he contradicts, or where he compares his argument with something else, you can easily denote that by finding these words, or identify that arguments by denoting these words, like noting or else noting these words in the question paper. And contrasting, what are the contrasting words? However, but, although, contrary, despite, even though, these words show a contrast in his argument. Like he's saying that vehicle emission, his central argument might be what? Say the vehicle emissions from the vehicle contribute to the greenhouse effect or increase in greenhouse gases. Then he might add but also the emissions from factories, something like that. So it deviates, it's a it contracts with his own central idea. So these words will help you identify contrasting ideas in his essay or in his article, but, although, contrary. So note these words because these words will, like while reading your question, you get, okay, this is a contrast, this question is about a contrasting idea from author's central theme. So where will we identify that? We will identify, you have to just look for these words. Okay, you don't have to look through the whole passage. So the question is about a contrasting idea from that of the original theme. So it will be where somewhere if there is but or however, you have already marked it. So you can just look at, is that it? You can just look at it much faster. Okay, that's why these words are important, right? If you mark these words, if the question is about a cause and effect, so you can just go in there, okay, this might be it. You have already marked the words that showing cause and effect, or comparison, or contrast. Addition means adding to it, that is furthermore, moreover, in addition, these an additional arguments that he has put forward. And these are the words, these are the particular words that you have to look for or scan for. Okay, these are commonly known as transition words or whatever, let it be there. So these are words, these are not exhaustive, there are more words. Okay, so look for these kind of words. Okay, like in contrast, you can have another word, on the other hand, it's not mentioned here. Okay, on the other hand, it's a contrasting word. See, you can apply these words, you have to collect these words while reading passages. So you should have a collection of these words. Okay, so look for it. Okay, cause and effect, comparison, contrast, additions. So let's move on to the next slide. So before winding up my session, I'll provide an important tip that will improve your mock score from today onwards. That is, it is a method of eliminating MCQs or ranking your options in examination. The first thing is you have to look for qualifiers and absolutes. You may not know what these words are. So absolutes are words that denotes extreme ideas. Okay, that is the option will contain always, never, every, all, none. Okay, must, only. Okay, these words are not provided here. These words denote that this is the only way, this is the only option. Greenhouse gases are increasing vehicles must be the reason for increase in greenhouse gases. Okay, this is an extreme statement. Is that the only reason in increasing greenhouse gases? No. So most of the time when you see absolutes in an MCQ as an option, okay, you can be sure 95% of the time it's not the answer. 95% of the times when the options contain absolutes, it cannot be the answer, because authors, writers, they tend to not use absolutes in their essays. Okay, so most of this keep in mind, absolutes in an option. Two options will be there, two right options will be there, and one option use the absolute terms in it. You can avoid that. Qualifiers are like may, might, usually, often, sometimes. These words denote qualifiers. So there are two options which are right, and one contains qualifiers and one contains absolute. You can be sure that qualifier must be the answer to that question. I'll explain it to you in a much simpler way. Think about an essay. The essay talks about a person is getting arrested under UAPA Act for criticizing Government of India or some program of Government of India. So now for a question there are four options. For a person speaking against the Government of India, options are like usually gets arrested under UAPA Act, must be arrested under UAPA Act, will not be arrested under UAPA Act, never been arrested under UAPA Act, have always been arrested under TAD Act. So last two options you can eliminate. Okay, never will be arrested is not that is not the central idea of the passage. TAD Act is not the central idea of the passage. From the central idea of the passage, we know that a person is already arrested for doing such thing under UAPA Act. But can we say that must be or will always be arrested? They are absolutes. It is not an absolute thing. Okay, so there are two options, but one contains a qualifier. Okay, usually is a qualifier. Usually, sometimes they will not even put a case against that person. Sometimes they let it go. They will let it go. Sometimes the case will not stand. So it's usually. So this is why looking for a qualifier is much easier. Okay, when there are two answers that is seemingly correct and you have to choose one from that, you can look for a qualifier or absolute in that options. Okay, qualifier an option containing qualifier will be the right answer in 95% of the times, except in times when the passage is dealing or the essay is dealing with an extremist point of view. Okay, if it is written by an extremist and it is about an extreme point of view, then you will have to choose the absolute. If the central theme is absolute, is extremism, then the absolute option comes as the right answer. It can happen. So that's why 5%. Okay, you have to understand the theme and central argument of the author while reading. That's an important thing while reading a passage. So that's all we are discussing today. So to sum up, we have learned what is the structure of an essay. Then we have learned different reading methods like skimming, skipping and active reading. Skimming is the method you will be using for your mock test and your entrance examination. Skipping is a time saving device. Use it only when it is discussing about a central idea. It's about a general idea, or if it is about legal aptitude portion that we have discussed in the classes. And while preparing, in legal aptitude class or any other classes, while preparing, in the learning process, active reading is very important. And while write mocks, you can try skipping and skimming methods, and the mock test also you can use that method. But while in a learning process, always do the active reading process. So now I am winding up my session. If you had any issue with this session or in any area I had to improve, please let us know in the comment box. We will improve that areas eventually. Okay, so see you in my next legal aptitude session. Thank you.